Soundstripe.
Welcome back to the Regional Collective, the podcast that champions small business owners and their incredible stories of resilience, creativity and community. I'm your host, Shelley Cox, and I couldn't be more excited to kick off Season 2 with something a little different, because this time we're hitting the road. From the bustling main streets to the quiet hidden gems, we'll be travelling across South Australia to meet inspiring small business owners in their own backyards. Together we'll explore their challenges, celebrate their wins and uncover the unique ways they're shaping their local communities. So buckle up for a heartfelt conversation with practical insights and a whole lot of inspiration as we shine a spotlight on the heartbeat of our regional economy. This is the Regional Collective, where small businesses make a big impact. Today we're hitting the road in the stunning Clare Valley, where we'll be diving into the story of Cassie from Gleeson Collective, who has started a co-working space within the ever-changing landscape of small business in a vibrant regional hub. From adapting her business model to embracing sustainability and innovation, Cassie has built a brand that reflects her community's unique spirit while staying ahead of the curve. In this episode, you'll hear how reflection and adaptability have played a pivotal role in her success and why she believes these practices are essential for any entrepreneur. So whether you're a seasoned business owner or just starting out, Cassie's insights are sure to inspire and motivate you to take your business to new heights. So let's jump in.
Soundstripe.
Cassie, thanks for joining us today. First of all, well done on the Gleeson Collective here in Clare. It looks amazing and you've done a great job of renovating such a historic building. Can you maybe just share with us how you got started and how you've gotten to where you are today?
And just thank you for coming up all the way to Clare. For everyone watching, I met Shelley about a year ago, or probably 18 months ago. She had her co-working space and was really helpful with some advice on myself for us getting started here. So I was very excited to show you through today.
Yeah, it's great to see the finished product.
And 18 months down the track. So I guess my journey, for want of a better word, I don't know if I like the word journey, the way I've come to this point in time, I went to uni and did a Bachelor of Business and studied to be a property valuer. So I did that for 20 years. I was a commercial, residential, rural, government rating and taxing valuer. I did the whole gamut of valuations in that time, worked regionally, metro, worked for a big firm, government department and small firm. So had quite a cross-section and tried all of the different things in that field and gained a lot of skills in business, property, markets, understanding markets, that sort of thing. So it was really good grounding in business. I did sort of get sort of midway through and wasn't really loving it. But there were aspects about it that I did love. So I then went off and had 3 children, which was, limited work time, but in that time I was working for the state government doing rating and taxing valuations. And then I decided the thing that I liked about property was the structures, the materials, how they come together, how you build a property, not so much the monetary side of it as in what's the value at the end and that sort of thing, and that's what valuation is all about. So then I went and did a diploma of building design at TAFE while the kids were little, and I did that externally. And I think when my second child was 9 months, I started that, and it took me 5 or 6 years.
Wow. To do part-time and remotely.
And it was a 2-year course full time, and I just had to sort of, as babies would come along or things got and juggling. And then COVID as well. That was a little bit interesting, but in hindsight probably gave me more time at home to study. So I found that a really challenging time studying with little children, and I know a lot of people do it. We seem to do these things, but if your children drop a nap or something, then you're suddenly up studying at night, and I did find that really hard.
Were you working part-time as well, or full-time?
Yes, I was working either 2 or 3 days. I used to find 3 almost tipped me over the edge of managing time. So it was sort of more of a case of the study, do as much as I could around all of the other things. So And I guess a little side note is that my husband and I are farmers, so my husband mostly runs a cropping and sheep enterprise in the mid-north, so that's busy in itself.
Yeah.
And then through the course of working regionally, which included sort of the Upper Spencer Gulf, York Peninsula, I've been to the Riverland, I sort of took any opportunity that I could to get out to the regions because I grew up in the regions. Yeah. Even when I was working in Adelaide, if they wanted someone to go to the Riverland, it was me. I'd put my hand up because I just wanted to get in the car and drive. And I would always need somewhere to work. So, and then later when I sort of moved back to the country permanently and got married, I would work out of Clare. We're sort of 60 kilometres out of Clare, so I'd work out of there, but could never find a space that was, I couldn't afford my own commercial lease because they lock you in for 3 to 5 years or something like that. And the expense of it, I didn't need that much space.
So you didn't need it all the time?
Didn't need it all the time. Yeah, I could work out of the car sometimes and often had to if I was out viewing properties. So I would then, over the years, I would sort of work with, if an accountant had a room at the back of their office or, a broom club coming somewhere, so you would find somewhere.
Piggyback
on the edges. Yeah, that was okay. You're still around like-minded business people, but it was first and foremost their building and their place. So I used to, sort of always have that feeling that I wasn't quite, part of it. Yeah. Even though they were really great. So, for a good 5 years, I had this idea in my head of creating a space. And I think in the initial stages, co-working in SA was probably quite new, and I didn't even know that was a term. So it probably sort of bubbled away for that amount of time. And then I was listening to a podcast about a lady in Grenfell who started a co-working space, the Collective Grenfell. So I listened to that several times. I then, Googled the population of that town, a little bit less than where I am, and I just thought, if she can do that there, I reckon I can do it here. And then in the meantime, I think you had started the Barossa one. So I was like, okay, this is the thing. People are doing this regionally. And that was the sort of inception of the idea with Gleeson Collective, and it was a good sort of probably 12, 18 months of looking for commercial property. We wanted to purchase property if we could. And it
also for the right location to come up as well, because that's a great spot here. You're only like a 1 minute walk to the main street, if that.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got, right next to the main street, but we've got lots of parking. So there's a few sort of boxes that the property ticked. It's, as they can probably see from the wall behind us, it's an 1870s stone cottage, which was originally a house. And when we took possession of it, there was water coming through the roof onto wires. There was, your foot was going through the floor from termites, and it was almost a knockdown job. And
but I can see from the photos when we first met, the 18 months ago, I could see that vision of going, these walls, you just put, basically had to rebuild the house around the walls.
We did, and the builder joked that we bought 4 walls because we replaced everything, the roof structure, the timber floors, some of the walls, and so it probably was a project that, and I might mention this a few times, so we bit off more than we could chew, and we just chewed really fast. And I have a husband that was semi-happy to come along for the ride, and he was
as we make them do,
and he initially I must admit was a little bit skeptical about the end result, and I had done some quite extensive feasibility studies to present to the bank for funding. We self-funded this completely ourselves. There was no government funding, nor did we use, because we're on a farm, nor did we use any sort of equity from our family farm. It was completely self-funded. So it had to be to quite a low, strict budget for the build. And when you're renovating an 1870s cottage, that things come up and get spoiled
quickly.
So the way to manage that was for us to do all the things we could possibly do. So we jackhammered floors, we painted, we hauled rubble, we landscaped, we anything we could possibly do, we did, which just kept costs down and kept the project moving as well.
That's it. And how are you going today? So 18 months down the track, what does a typical week look like for Gleeson Collective?
So we are an 8 office co-working space, and so 7 of those offices are private full-time people that come in, and they've got their little lockable office, and they do their own thing. They're a great bunch, and we've got a really great bunch actually in here, like lovely banter and community of people that are all willing to help each other out, and so they come and go. You never know who's going to be here.
Which is good, because when you're working for yourself or in a small or regional area, it can get lonely if you are, like you said, you've worked from the car or from home as well.
Definitely.
It's great to have a place to be able to talk with people.
And that's probably the thing I enjoy about having Gleeson Collective for myself, living out on a farm. I could work from home completely, but I love coming in here, having a chat, or there's a wealth of knowledge in this building, and often if you want to know something, someone will know it, and they're more than happy to help with things and share.
And you've also got some like meeting rooms, and how does that get managed? So do you manage bookings?
Yes, so we've got a meeting room and a private office / sort of smaller meeting space, and hot desks at the back as well. So that's sort of like in that shared space if people want to come in and use a desk there. And I manage that through a website and a booking platform. So people just jump on and they book their space. They're automatically sent a code for the back door that they can, just manage themselves. And I'll often, if there's a group coming in that haven't been in before, I'll often meet them for the first time just to show them around and make sure that they're all settled. But we have a lot of repeat people that come up from Adelaide, Barossa, Kadina, Piri. We're kind of in that middle ground there. So we do have a lot of professionals that come across from different regions to either meet clients or they're just doing a bit of work in the region. So it's great.
And what about you? How you've built another aspect to your business as well? So what are you doing now with moving from that sort of valuing role? So
at the same time as opening Gleeson Collective, another situation of just leap and see how you go. I had finished my study and people were wanting me to do drafting. It started out with Uncle Tom or whoever wanting to do things. So I just started doing some small drafting jobs, extensions and so forth, and I guess that business has organically just moved along through this process, and I've been drafting for probably 18 months, same amount of time, and so I work out of Gleeson as a draftsperson and I juggle between running Gleeson and the drafting, and soon to be, I think next year, the books for our farming enterprise, which will add another layer. But a lot of these skills are transferable. If you're managing the business at Gleeson, I use an accounting software that can have both businesses on that same one, so it's all the same and easy to manage. And so I try and keep my systems simple, low cost, but efficient for myself. Like I want them to work really well. I don't want all the bells and whistles necessarily, but I need the basics to work really well. And and that has come about through using certain technology that hasn't worked for me. And it's one of those things where you try things, and if it doesn't work, I would say one piece of advice is to get rid of that piece of technology because it's not serving you and it's not actually helping you.
And sometimes it's worth knowing what doesn't work to know then what works, doesn't it?
Yes.
So you do need to. I always talk about casting a net out and see what comes back and go, okay, we tried that. That didn't really give us the results that we needed, so let's try something else, or what else is there.
That's right.
Because you don't want to be stuck for too long repeating the same things that aren't working.
That's right.
Going to move you forward.
And I think that's the benefit of being in your own small business. You have that ability to go, right, that's not working, pivot, make a change.
So I love that word before COVID. It was such a great word. And agile, agility, it was a great
it's up there with journey as well.
Although I do still think of the Friends episode with pivot. But it is really important, and it is a benefit and a strength of small business, I think. It's the ability to go, do you know what? Nah, not working, but to go over here. We both know from corporate life, to make that change could be 6 months.
Yeah, and even probably one worse than corporate is working at government levels, because there's layers and layers of approvals that are needed to make change, and that is, that's probably one of the reasons I deviated out of working for someone or a large organisation. I wanted to be able to have that autonomy to make those choices, and
And that's it, and you've got to live with your decisions, don't you?
You do.
So you've got to, well,
Yep.
I made the call,
Yeah.
and there's accountability that's there, but the freedom to make those decisions is huge.
It is,
isn't
yeah, and that's something great. That is a really good thing about small businesses. You steer it how you want it to go, and I really enjoy that. So.
And tell us about the new initiative that was announced last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah. So when we opened, I had a whole lot of ideas of things I wanted to roll out here, and they're still there. There's, we've done some, and some are just sort of sitting to the side, ready to be sort of executed when the time's right. But one of them was I really wanted to create a scholarship to help a woman in business. To remove a barrier to entry into business. So I guess if you are starting out, the cost of having an office space is something that most of us can't afford. So we work from home for as long as we possibly can. We're out of the car, or wherever that may be, the library maybe, until cafes, until you build up enough income to warrant an office. However, I think having the office helps you build your business quicker because you're around like-minded business people, you're within the business community, you're visible, you've got that support network around you. And so that was the idea behind the Start Her Scholarship. I decided to approach a small business in our region, and I had a few in mind that I thought would align with those similar goals to me. And so my first one that I approached is Kelly from Kelly Legal. So she's an amazing lawyer who has quite a big law firm in Jamestown, and her main goal is to provide legal services for this region that are as good, if not better, and I think they're better than what you can get in Adelaide. So you don't have to travel if you need law services, legal services, and she has absolutely nailed that. And she's got a list of people from metro areas that want to come and work for her, and she's attracting really good staff and offering a great service. So she aligns in the same view of me of we were given great opportunities we both had great education, we were able to go on and do tertiary study, and not everyone can do that, we understand that, and we want to give back to other people, and so that sort of fostering a woman in business is something that really appeals to us.
And so you're taking applications
at
the moment?
Yes, so applications are open until the end of November, and so what it essentially is they have their own dedicated workspace at Gleeson Collective, but they also, and this is probably more important than the actual physical desk, but they have access to not only a support network in here, because this is, they'll have a lot of people around them.
Hub of like-minded and inspiring people.
But they also, Kelly's agreed to mentor in the legal side of things and anything business related. I'm happy to mentor as well. Another fellow by the name of Tim Davies, who shot a promotional video, he put his hand up and said, well, hey, I'll do the IT websites, and he's amazing. He's written a book, he's a marketing guru, so he's happy to help in that space. And Kelly mentioned the other day the person that does her IT, who I haven't found out the details yet, but he's happy to help with any IT system setup. So it's a full range of mentoring. Should you choose to, it can be as formal or as informal as they want. We're sort of led by the person that is to the applicants.
And fantastic, and thinking about how that can spur on, great things from aspiring businesswoman. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I said to Kelly the other day, what do we want to? What's our goal for this person? I said, just to get them going. We just want to see that business thriving at the end of that 12 months, because in regions, as you know, we're losing services to big hubs, and it just feels like more and more we're losing services. But if we can sort of create these areas where we've got entrepreneurship and the ability to execute it, we
some
support.
of those practical aspects as well of where do I sit, how do I get internet so that I don't have to be out of the coffee house pub after I've finished 2 coffees.
That's right. That's right. You can't sit there all day meeting a client at a coffee shop if it's a personal conversation in a country town is not okay.
Word travels fast.
It does, yeah. So that's really exciting. And the other thing, and Shelley and I were talking about this prior to recording, is potentially being able to offer some workshops and things. That's definitely on my radar here, and utilise our space to be able to sort of become that hub where entrepreneurs or even people that are established that think, I don't know about this new chat GPT thing or something like that comes along, that then you can offer some training and that it's...
And also using, from our experience of co-working spaces, is finding ways to inspire people to use a space that's perhaps different to where they normally work, because we know that when we go to a different place and space, our creativity is challenged and we can think of new ideas.
Definitely.
So taking, even if you've got a team, and taking them out of the normal boardroom sort of environment to being somewhere where you've got just changing it up every now and again, I think can give you more benefits than not.
Yeah, and I think that was, a couple of things that were really important to us here when we were creating Gleeson. It had to look and feel nice. So, comfortable in terms of air conditioning and, Clare gets very cold, so it's warm in winter, cool in summer. Aesthetically, it had to look nice. Like I wanted to create a space that people felt like they walked in, it's quality and they want to be here. They are professional here, but not in a sense that they have to be something they're not, but they're
not
comfortable.
It fits in with, I think it's representative of the region.
That's right, the heritage region, but also the culture of Gleeson. I mean, I think everyone has a horror story of a workplace they've been in where there was really negative people, there was passive aggressive people, there was nasty bosses or colleagues or lots of undertones of things going on that stop you working and being productive. And so Gleeson is definitely, like, I work really hard on when I'm in here to bring some energy, set the tone, and we have none of that here. Like there's nothing like that. It's great.
And I think that comes from you and your intention when you set the space up. I think like it comes with the vibes.
Yes.
So I think that's really important to then also champion those, that sort of intention of the space.
Yeah, definitely. And if you see, if conversations do maybe start to get a little bit negative, like just gently steer them in a way so that it, it's more positive. And I think sometimes as well, having, we have 6 or 7 permanent businesses that use this space. They're not related in any way, they're in quite often in different industries. So maybe by virtue of that, you don't get that many clashes because you're actually not working together, you're working side by side. And so it's a great,
good mix.
Good mix, good fun.
So what, have you got any advice as we finish up for, I guess, anyone that's looking to maybe do that pivot or looking to do something new? What would be maybe a piece of advice to leave us on?
A couple of pieces of advice.
Because we know lots of
we do. Yeah, and don't, I've always been not afraid, and as I get older, very much so, to say to people, I'm new at this, can you give me some pointers on something? So, and for me now, particularly with drafting, I went out on my own without working under someone, which, admittedly, was really challenging for me. I had been a valuer for 20 years and I knew that job inside and out, and then to suddenly jump into something that you are unfamiliar with as rules and regulations like you wouldn't believe in the building game, and you need to be across all of that. So the way that I did that is that I found some great mentors, and often the mentors that I've found that have been so great to me seem to be either people that are on the tail end of their career, so they're looking back in retrospect and they're quite grateful for their career and they're happy to help you, or those ones like yourself who are just those couple of steps before, like you had opened your co-working space and it was probably still fresh in your mind, and when I came along you thought, oh, this poor girl, like, let's help her. So finding people that are just a couple of steps ahead of you, because I think we
can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone. And I haven't actually had it, I've approached a few people and said, can you help in this aspect? And nobody has said no. And in return, if anybody ever asks me, I will more than gladly help them, because I think it's a bit of a give and take in that sort of situation. So having people around you and not being afraid to say, look, I don't know this, can you help me with this? And I think it was mentioned on one of your other podcasts the other day, when you start a small business, funds are usually pretty limited. You're starting up and your cash flow is always difficult, managing cash flow, and you inevitably do everything yourself. So when I started Gleeson, I did the IT, the marketing, the painting, emptying bins, cleaning the toilets. And to be honest, I still do a lot of that. At some point, you know, as you go along, you might think, okay, I think now the cleaning, I might outsource that because I don't have time. But don't feel like in those initial stages that pull to, yes, you can and you should seek advice, but sometimes if you can't afford it, that's okay. You need to run leanly to start with, and that unfortunately might mean doing a lot of things yourself. But flip side of that is what
there will come a time that you can then outsource, and you also then value that outsource.
You do,
because you don't know what it takes to clean
to do that. Yeah, that's right. And you can really sort of get a handle on what you're asking for as well, what you need and what you want to ask for. But you know, and I have often felt in the last 18 months that pull of, oh gosh, am I spending enough time on the drafting business or Gleeson Collective? And this could be the case if you've only got one business. I'm not doing enough marketing. I'm not doing enough on the ground of the work. Am I spreading my time in the right areas?
You've got 3 kids as well.
And then family and children
and
but to definitely cut yourself some slack, and I have not been good at that, and I'm really trying to be a little bit kinder and saying, well, you know what, I can't get it all done, and maybe switching that phone off at 8:30 and your computer and just jumping in front of Netflix and giving yourself a break is fine.
You're not going to solve all the problems in one day.
That's right. They'll still be
and
there
giving yourself the time and going, look, I've got some great aspirations of things I want to achieve.
Yes.
I would love to do it in a month.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to look like 3 months.
That's
realistically,
right.
Setting realistic time frames for our goals has been a learning for me as well, because
that's right.
Again, we're very, we love what we do. And so passion can drive us for quite a while.
Yes.
But it's also not as sustainable.
That's right.
So.
I definitely agree. And I think sometimes my husband's definitely the sensible head on lunch of the team in terms of sometimes I'll come to him with an idea and he sometimes can be a little bit left field, and I'll say, what do you think about this? And he'll say, I think you should have a cup of tea. So
let's just slow down.
Have a cup of tea. So he's a lot more measured. And I mean, I'm quite, I would say by nature, quite a risk adverse person, and that has come with years of being a property valuer. That's that's part and parcel of being a valuer, I think. Quite conservative in nature, but now I think I've been let off the leash, and I've got all these ideas and giving things a go. And if they don't work out, move on and do pivot again. There goes that word. So. Yeah, but it's really enjoyable. And the other great thing I like about business, and if someone's thinking of starting their own business, is that yes, I'm probably working harder than I have ever, but if I want to go to Adelaide for the Sapsaza that my child's in, or take a morning off to have coffee for a friend for her birthday, I can. I just work later that night.
To do we work hard, and we just choose when to work hard.
That's right. And so.
Oh, awesome! Thank you so much for sharing your story, but also your lessons. We love to learn.
Yeah.
As business owners, I do say I'm tired of learning. I just want to be great at it and just let it be.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I would like to now stop that too for a little bit.
Have a rest.
But
no, you're doing great things, and I think that her scholarship is a fantastic way that you can continue to empower other small businesses to keep growing and thriving in your region. So
that's right. We hope it's the start of good things to come with helping people in the regions with small businesses, because I think there is a bit of a discord of, particularly with women, sometimes the confidence and the support around them, and that comes in lots of forms like childcare and different things, and that's a whole other discussion, isn't it, to get supports around you so that you can start these things and execute them well. So. Yeah.
Excellent. No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Soundstripe.
Thanks for listening to the Regional Collective. We hope you've picked up some great ideas to help your business thrive in your regional community. Ready for more? Join our membership for weekly support and resources tailored just for small businesses like yours. Stay in the loop, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or follow us on Spotify so you don't miss a thing. Keep growing, keep thriving, and let's build stronger regions together. See you next time.